Good afternoon. I welcome you to our fifth, The Regulators. The Hayne inquiry exposed too many failings to pass it off as a case of a few bad apples. The culture at the heart of the industry needs a radical overhaul. Turning to the regulators, who have been under as much scrutiny as the banks themselves, I know from their previous statements that they believe an ambition to instill pride by abiding by the highest professional standards is as important as their regulatory requirements in restoring trust.
There's an enormous imbalance of power and knowledge between those in financial services and their customers on many occasions. The only way to maintain trust is, of course, to have an understanding of your obligation as the person with greater power, greater knowledge in the transaction to act in the best interest of customers. And that, of course, the classic solution is professionalism.
The mortgage arrears rate nationally is 1%, which is low by both historical standards in Australia and international standards. Nonetheless, the arrears rate has been increasing steadily over recent years to the highest it's been for around a decade, and so you can't just ignore that. Appropriate lending standards ensure that borrowers have reasonable income and equity buffers to mitigate the impact of macro factors on arrears, while poor lending standards amplify their effect. The effect of tighter lending standards, more appropriate lending standards, is there in terms of the way that loans have been performing over the last few years.
Fairness is both a legal and an ethical obligation for corporate Australia. And when we ask the question, what is fair? We know its absence when consumer harm abounds. And doing the right thing is proving today more than ever before to be a commercial must-have. Going forward, we are planning to publish our work on what we think fairness in the provision of financial services and products should look like and not look like. At ASIC, we will keep the nightlight on, both conduct and consumer outcomes, but at the end of the day, the firms must also commit to change. And for me, the most demonstrable evidence of that in financial services will be when firms understand, measure and deliver on good consumer outcomes.
Financial stability requires more than just a strong balance sheet, a competent board and prudent risk management. It also requires trust and confidence, both of which have been tarnished in recent times. By informing, influencing and driving accountability, APRA will harness transparency as a tool to promote better practice and deter poor conduct. Opening up on APRA's actions and decisions will help to restore public confidence that Australia's banks, insurers and superannuation trustees are being held to account for their performance and the outcomes they deliver.